Hey guys, my name is Jeff, and today we're going to be taking a look at the red car behind me. But before we get too far into that, first, a quick word from our sponsor.
This video is brought to you by Woodside Credit, the exclusive loan provider for Barrett-Jackson for over a decade. Estimate your lowest payment in America at woodsidecredit.com.
Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at not just one red car, but multiple cars. In fact, a collection of Ferraris that have a rather unfortunate story to them. So the story goes that all of the cars you see behind me here were being kept in the same warehouse in Indiana when unfortunately a storm came in and actually collapsed the warehouse that these cars are being stored in. Now, as such a thing, when a warehouse collapses, unfortunately you get some cars damaged on the inside. So some of these cars do have some damage to them that we'll be going through, and we'll be taking a look at some of the damage. Some were able to avoid some damage and are in decent and better condition than the others, and I'll do my best to explain what cars we're looking at as we go through it. So without any further delay, let's start walking through what we have here. First of all, we have this 512 race car, which looks like it's supposed to be a NART race car. It looks fantastic. It's even got racing slicks on it still. Of course, it's got some various debris leaning on it. Some of the idea for the display here is some of the debris that's actually on the cars, and you'll see throughout the display is supposed to be similar to how the cars looked when they were sitting in the warehouse after the warehouse itself collapsed from the storm. Rather unfortunate, but this car appears to be less affected. Obviously, it's quite a tad bit dirty here, but it looks pretty good, all things considered. There's lots of cool race car bits that obviously would be very hard to replace should anything happen to this car. Different intakes that stick over the roof. Obviously, we have a cool wing that even has a Ferrari badge on it, and as we come around to the rear, quite a cool quad spoke exhaust here. Now over here, we have some more Ferraris. This particular Ferrari, which has the beautiful gated manual, is a 275 GTS and has the V12 exposed with the 3 Weber carburetors in it. Beautiful car. We do have a mix of Ferrari parts here. We have a 500 Mondial that is sitting in pieces, along with a 3-liter V12 over there and a transaxle. Pretty fun. This one is really interesting. So this is a 1965 Ferrari 275 GTB, and this one has seen quite a bit of damage. This particular car is even an alloy car, which means the value for this one is super high. Even as it sits, it's likely worth a couple $1 million. Now, as you can see, some of the metalwork has been damaged, so this car would need to be refurbished. We can even see some of the damage in the headlight space itself, some of the paint peeling back. Rather unfortunate. Beautiful car, worth a ton of money, perhaps one of the most expensive cars in this collection here. And it's got some other damage, unfortunately, when we walk through. Aside from the paint, we have some metal damage in the rear for this beautiful swoopy portion of the tail that we have in the back that is unfortunately damaged as well. As we move on, we have an absolutely gorgeous 250 GT Lusso sitting here, and it has wire spoke wheels that are a little bit rusty. We can see more of the paint sort of deteriorating, tires are worse for wear, things of that nature. But as we come to the back, we can see some of our warehouse damage, which of course, glass has been smashed in. Not anything that can't be repaired, relatively easy. A little bit of a dent from some of the materials that have come through, but some more of the warehouse damage that's rather obvious. And behind that, we have a Dino, which of course, the V6 Ferrari, no Ferrari badges on it, also sitting in its warehouse condition. Could use a little bit of work, but that one doesn't actually look too bad, all things considered. So, moving to the second tier, we have some more Ferraris, including some 330s. This one obviously managed to avoid some of the bad stuff that would have happened to some of the other cars. This car is in better condition, no crazy damage or anything, just a little bit dirty. Could use a wash and a buff, and I'm sure that one would be okay. This 308, however, unfortunately has quite a bit of damage that is done to it. We can see the fiberglass body itself here has actually been destroyed in quite a few different ways. So this will be a little bit harder to replace. Some work will be needed to piece in some of this various bits of the car. And we have a massive tire, which has ended up going into the windshield. Pretty interesting, but this Ferrari still is relatively intact, and maybe somebody could patch this together or find some replacement bits to put it back together. But that one's not too bad all in all. The rest of the car is in fairly good condition, just needs some new tires as well. Another cool car, of course, the Ferrari 356, or should I say 365, excuse me. This car looks absolutely incredible, the GT4. So this is a fun car. Obviously, we generally refer to this car as the Daytona, and that's not because it's actually not a Ferrari name. The Ferrari name would be the 365 GTB4. The Daytona name was given to it after it won the Daytona race outright. So that's where that name comes from. The Ferrari race car came, dominated everything, earned a nickname for dominating at that racetrack, and that's why we call it the Daytona. Over here we have a very beautiful car, and it's got a very nice engine bay as well, with a functional hood scoop that directs all of that air straight into the front engine of the V12. This is a 1964 Ferrari 250 GTL Berlinetta. It is a gorgeous car. I love the side stripes. Obviously looks just like the 250 GTO race car that would have been available, but a very beautiful car nonetheless, with wire spoke wheels, nice vents. Interior has some nice bucket seats in there as well, along with a manual transmission. And we keep moving back, we've got some more vents, and this car is in relatively good condition compared to some of the other cars that would have happened to that there. Coming here, we have a 1991 Ferrari Testarossa. This one also managed to survive some of the warehouse details. It looks pretty good, just a little bit dirty is all. And as we keep moving through, we have a 512 BBI, which is a beautiful car. Not too much damage on this one either, just a little bit dirty. One of the better recipients of some of the things that have happened in this event as well. We'll keep moving through. This is probably one of the worst cars that we'll find. So this is actually a 1969 Ferrari 350 GT. So this is obviously part of the barn that has since fallen on the car. So now we have a roof that is now severely caved in, back window is trashed. The interior looks like it suffered a little bit of damage, obviously from things getting pushed in. The front glass even doesn't fit quite right, it is broken. This is a lot of damage that has happened to this poor Ferrari. The rest of the body actually looks relatively good, aside from the roof. So this could likely be repaired. It would just take a significant cost to fix everything, and not the ideal thing, not what you want to happen to your Ferrari, but it's there and it can be repaired and likely will be. Over here we have a 1965 Ferrari 330 GT, which also has had some more roof damage. We actually have a huge dent in here, but all in all, the body has some various nicks and things that are since got a little bit of surface rust on them, but not too bad, all things considered. Pininfarina badges. This car is in pretty good condition too, aside from the roof. It's surprising that a lot of the glass managed to stay intact on this particular Ferrari, but man, it looks fantastic, and thank goodness that it somehow managed to survive the warehouse looking as it does. Now, let's move on to our last tier. As we come up to our last tier of vintage Ferraris found in a warehouse, we have a 1960 Ferrari 250 GT Coupe Series. Obviously, it has a fair bit of damage right here at the front, which could benefit from some repainting, buffing, taking this thing down, some older paint on this car as well, new Ferrari badges, but it looks particularly good. I imagine some of this is just to age, wear and tear, not necessarily the storm getting involved, but here it is nonetheless. Doesn't look too bad, would benefit from a restoration as well. Moving on, this here is a 1977 Ferrari 400. This particular car is paired with an automatic transmission. This being a four-seater Ferrari is a pretty cool speak. It's a 2+2 essentially. You got a fair amount of room in the back. So if you wanted to haul your family around in a Ferrari, this would have been one of the early options coming out in 1977. And then next to it, we have another Ferrari 365 GTV4. Again, sharing that nameplate, earning the nickname of Daytona after its race history. Pretty cool car nonetheless. This one's in pretty good condition, would also benefit from a bump or a polish with a variety of swirl marks. And then we have a very dirty 1972 Ferrari 365 GTC4. So slightly different version, 365 GTB, 365 GTC4. So very cool, different iterations, very similar cars. And then we have our last car, which is this beauty. This is a 1965 Ferrari 410 Super America Coupe Series 1. We have our functional duct, very nice pointy nose, which is very reminiscent of the Ferrari California, and this one's in not too bad of shape. It's got some missing pieces, missing grills. You know, it's not too often that you see these types of vintage Ferraris, especially in a collection like this. There's a lot of cars that are missing various components, like our grill here, some of the chef knobs, various things, and aside from the ones that were damaged in the storm, honestly, it's all not that bad, and it's cool to see the collection all intact here. Thank you so much for watching that video. If you're looking to purchase your next collector car, be sure to check out AutoHunter.com, which is our online auction with cars going live every single weekday, or the sister site, ClassicCars.com, which has over 30,000 cars currently live on the site. If you enjoyed the video, could hit that like button for us, we'd really appreciate it, and consider getting subscribed for more content like that in the future. Thank you so much for watching.